we are going to talk about murder. Today is the second day of Halloween Fest, and due to popular demand from you Katy Cats, today's video is going to be all about creepy pasta. I went throughout the whole entire internet, because that's what I do, and I collected the 10 creepiest creepypastas that I could find. So I'm going to give you guys a quick synopsis, but it's a Kaylena quick, so it's not that quick. Synopsis of each and every creepypasta on this list. So turn on all the lights in your house and grab your favorite blanket, because we're talking about some creepy stuff. So let's get to it. Number 10 with an 8.5 ranking, The Angel. A few years ago, a mother and father called upon a babysitter to watch their children while they went on a date night, just the two of them. As expected, the night started off pretty smoothly. That is, until the children fell asleep. Since the only TV in the house with cable was in the parents' bedroom, the babysitter called the father to ask for permission. After the father agreed, the babysitter had one more question. Can I cover up the angel statue next to the window? It's making me nervous. Anxious, the father told the babysitter to hurry up and grab the children and get out of the house as fast as they could because they don't own an angel statue. The parents and the police arrived at the house as soon as they could to find the children and the babysitter dead in a pool of blood. Number 9 with an 8.5, Slenderman. Slenderman is a hugely popular creepypasta character that pretty much everyone has heard about by now with all the stories that have been going on in the news. Slenderman is always depicted as inhumanly tall with gangly long limbs. He never has facial features, and he's always wearing a black suit. The origin of Slenderman is not exactly known. Some people claim that Slenderman comes from a website called Awful Forum, and that he started in a thread called Create Paranormal Images. But some people say that entities described like Slenderman can actually be traced back several centuries and through different countries' mythology. While Slenderman's traits and habits may change depending on which story you're reading, for the most part, people agree that he's able to change his height on command, control people's minds, he can only be seen by his targets or those with cameras, and that he mainly targets children. Slenderman is known for his passive-aggressive stalking behavior, and some stories say that Slenderman has stalked some of his prey for years. Number 8 with an 8.7, Jeff the Killer. Jeff and his family just moved into a new swanky neighborhood. If being a 13-year-old boy isn't awkward enough, try being the new kid. And one with psychopathic urges. One day, when a trio of bullies attempt to rob Jeff's younger brother, he acts on the urges for the first time and beats the bullies to a bloody pulp. Of course, the bullies weren't going to let Jeff just get away with what he did, so they decided to exact their revenge while at a party, where they beat Jeff up and ultimately set him on fire. Jeff awakens in the hospital with his new reflection of white leathery skin and dark red lips. And that is when he finally snaps. His mother finds Jeff carving a permanent smile into his face and burning off his eyelids so that he'll never have to spend another minute again not looking at his new face. Jeff then goes on to murder his entire family. So moral of the story, if your son starts carving things into his face, it's probably time to leave. Number 7 with a 9.0, The Rake. Due to a speculated media blackout, very little is known about the Rake. But a handful of journal entries collected across several centuries and countries all describe a human-like creature that resembles a hairless dog that's unnaturally shaped. Most entries are very short and only discuss how the creature invokes terror in the writer. But one woman wrote in detail of the 2006 night she woke up to find the Rake at the foot of her bed. She recalls the Rake locking eyes solely with her husband before leaping out of the bed and down the hallway to where her daughter slept. In a matter of seconds, the creature had ripped the daughter into shreds. But before leaving, the Rake looked directly at the woman. It wasn't until a couple years passed that the Rake reappeared in the woman's life for her turn. Number 6 with a 9.0, Chat. A boy spends his Friday night chatting online with his friend Bradley, who was home alone while his parents were out of town. They were having fun in the online chat room until it grew late and his mother told him it was time to log off. Before signing off the chat, the boy asked his friend Bradley if he wanted to come over the following day, but all he got was a long pause, followed by a "Bradley is typing a message," Then another long pause, and the reappearance of the typing message symbol. Irritated by the long delay, he signed off without ever getting the message that Bradley was typing. The next day, he logged on to the chat room to find that Bradley was still signed in. After a few casual exchanges, Bradley made it very clear he had something extremely important to show him and that he'd be over at his house ASAP, even though his parents were due home any minute. Curious as to what could be so important, he agreed to have Bradley come over. Then his phone rang. It was Bradley's parents asking where their son was. In the middle of explaining to Bradley's father that Bradley was on his way over to his house, he heard a horrible scream. In the coat closet, they had found Bradley's dead body. He hung up the phone just in time to hear his back door creak open. Number 5, with a 9.1, The Internet Story. An 8-minute film told through fragments of videos, animation, blog posts, and news articles tells the story of a young man that goes by the internet username Al1 who decides for his own personal amusement to create a public treasure hunt. He claims he buried money in a secret location, and anyone who can follow the clues and find it, well, then the money would be theirs. When a confident YouTube vlogger decides to pursue the riddles, his journey isn't the innocent fun he was expecting. While on the right track for the majority of the treasure hunt, he misinterprets a crucial last clue. Thinking he would find the treasure in a field, his last vlog entry shows him traveling across the country to get there, unaware that the last clue actually contains a secret and ominous warning. Thing is, since the body was never positively identified and he never showed his faces in the vlogs, no one knows who it was that ended up dead in the field. Number 4, with a 9.1, Persuaded. It all started with a tanker accident, and then it became much worse. Whatever was in the tanker caused a chain reaction. The animals exposed to the fluid went crazy and bit the volunteers, and then the volunteers went crazy and bit other humans. 4 days later, and the chaos started spreading town to town until eventually it spread across the nation. Unlike zombie movies, these zombies were aware of the world around them and used it to their advantage. They whisper in sinister voices to coerce you out of hiding and join their legion of the undead. They are relentless and only care about one thing: persuading you. Number 3, with a 9.2, Never Again. A 17-year-old girl living with her abusive mother awakes one night to a soft tapping on her front door. When she opens the door, she's greeted by a pale 6-year-old girl who is covered in dirt and barefoot in the snow. Not questioning the state she was in on a winter's night, she invited the little girl in to sleep on the couch. It wasn't until she asked for her name that she realized she had black eyes. Her name was Lacey Morgan. The next morning, she woke to find no trace of Lacey but a small dirt smudge left on the couch. But when she turned on the news, the leading news story was the discovery of the 6-year-old body of Lacey Morgan. Lacey's mother was missing and presumed the murderer since there had been child abuse reports in the past. Telling herself it wasn't possible that a dead girl had showed up on her doorstep, she went to bed early that night. A few hours later, she is again woken up by the presence of little Lacey. Caressing her bruises caused by her abusive mother, Lacey only whispered, "Never again." The next day, she had found her abusive mother had disappeared, never to be seen again. Number 2, with a 9.2, Lightning. A father moves him and his 3-year-old son to a new home for a fresh start. On the first night, a lightning-filled thunderstorm took place. It was his young son's first time witnessing such a storm and was captivated by the lights and sound. A few mornings later, the father found his son sitting in his bed smiling, declaring that he had saw the lightning outside of his window again last night. The father wrote it off as nothing, assuming the boy was just reliving the memory of his very first storm. But over the next few weeks, it became a pattern. Every few days, the boy would wake up declaring he had watched the lightning outside of his window, even though it hadn't stormed. One morning, before checking on his son, the father was reading a news article about a local pedophile. The pedophile was yet to be caught and was said to like to take pictures of his victims. That same morning, the son came running down to the kitchen. "Guess what, Dad? No more lightning outside of my window. Now it's coming from my closet." Number 1, with a 9.4, Bedtime. This story proves there's a reason to be afraid of the monsters under your bed. recalling memories of when he was 8 years old and getting his own room for the first time. What should be stories filled with happiness are ones filled with pure terror. On the very first night, he was awoken by the sound of rustling sheets coming from the empty bunk bed below him. His rational reasons for the sound were quickly crossed off when the movements became more malicious in intent. It wasn't until his mother's presence in the room, responding to his screams, did the thing stop. This became a nightly routine over the course of the next few months. Each night, the presence grew stronger, but his mother always came at the perfect time. That is, until his sickly grandmother caused his mother to be out of town one night. In what can only be described as pure terror, he woke up that night to find the presence embodied in an inhumanly body wrapped around him. Trying to escape its grasp only led to the fight for his life. He only lived because the sun began to rise just as the thing was beginning to suck him into the wall. Be right back. I'm gonna go move my bed. Thank you so much for watching the second day of Halloween Fest. Don't forget, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Also, don't forget to share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, any and all social media sites. If you're not yet a Katy Cat and would like to become a Katy Cat, let's become a Katy Cat. Hit the subscribe button to see more videos.